More advanced users of Leica's LASX software may be instructed to come into our Hardware Configurator. This is a second program that is installed with our software. This is where you can actually configure the hardware for your microscope. So if I right click and run this as administrator, it's going to launch our Hardware Configurator. The first of four choices here is our hardware setup. This is where you can actually define what the microscope chassis is, how it's connected, and some of the peripherals that are actually associated with your microscope. You can also test the connection. So if you're having issues with the system, this might be a quick way just to double check to make sure that everything is successfully connected. We also have a configure option. This is where you can fine-tune the hardware associated with the microscope. Common things for folks to need within this selection are the objectives here in the nose piece. So as you click on each of these, you'll see a top part where you can assign the options from this bottom part. You can actually look it up via the part number. So all of the Leica parts have a Leica part number on them. So for example, if I was looking for this particular 40x 0.6 NA objective, instead of looking at all the 40x objectives, I could just type in the last three digits of that objective's part number, 203, which brings up a couple of different options here, and it's the 40x that I wanted. So with the position highlighted, you simply double click on the selection and it will be assigned into that position. After you've made changes, it's often good practice to exit out of this software and power cycle the microscope, which means turn it off, leave it off for a couple of seconds, and then turn it back on again. Also here, we can add or remove filters from the filter cartridge as well. So if you wanted to remove a filter, you could simply right click, delete the entry, and you can also search in the list for the filter that you would like to add. Double click on it to get it situated into the position. More advanced features are available for our sequence boards now. So we have different system triggers that you can control. Typically our Leica cameras are going to connect via these system triggers that are on the board. We can also now control lasers, light sources, traditional generic TTL signals, as well as our new analog signal controls coming with the DMI-8S and our advanced sequence boards. A lot of my users know that after I set up a microscope for the first time, I tend to leave the programmable function keys unprogrammed until users have some time with their microscope to figure out what commands they use most frequently. On this DMI-8 that I'm using here, I've got two different sets of buttons that can be programmed. I can do these four buttons here on our Smart Move, which controls our X, Y, and Z. So in this case, I've got X, Y precise or fast, and Z fine and coarse programmed into the buttons to make the navigation much easier for me. But equally, the microscope itself has four programmable buttons on the right side next to the focus knob. So you can actually see this diagram here correlates to the actual view from the side of the microscope. And in this case, I've got the ability to toggle through my objectives programmed in, as well as my cubes, both clockwise and counterclockwise. So for my typical workflow, these buttons help save me some time, especially when I've got my eyes locked into the eyepieces searching for that next sample. I can easily switch between objectives and my cubes, as well as the different movement speeds and precisions for my Smart Move. So programming these functions is very easy. You just recognize the diagram here, select in the top part which position you'd like to program, and then in the bottom you can search for the command that best suits your needs. Double click to redefine that particular position's function. There are also some fine-tune adjustments you can make to the DMI-8 itself. So if I choose the DMI-8 under the component selection here and go over to the right, we've got a fine-tuning tab. Here we can actually start several wizards which are really nice. The parafocality wizard allows you to maintain focus as you switch between different magnification objectives. Paracentricity allows the stage to move to keep the same center point as you switch between objectives as well. These wizards are nice. Once you start them, you can select what type of wizard you'd like to run. Parafocality I think is going to be really important for folks using the new navigator feature so that you can easily switch between magnifications and not have to worry too much about refocusing. When you select the wizard type, it will step through each of the steps in the process to set your parafocality nice and easily. You can also access these directly within the LASX software interface as well on the left side at the bottom of the Acquire tab.